Okay, so I kind of wanted to build a Dimir Flowstate deck. I know a very simple idea, but Flowstate is a card that I have liked a lot in the few decks we've played it, and haven't played in that many decks. You know, a weird expressive iteration variant. Um, and I thought specifically that trying to play it alongside Moonshadow and Nethergoyf in sort of like a lower to the ground Dimir Tempo Shell sounded really exciting because I do think we've played a lot of decks like this that are like really in on like the cheap, powerful black creatures. Oh, there goes the Thoughtseizes. The powerful, cheap black creatures, but what they really do lack is a good card draw spell. You can play some Night's Whisper, which can be really awkward. Not a lot of card selection either, but what you really lack again is a good card selection spell, card draw spell, and now you have that in Flow State. And so I tried a couple different versions yesterday. I was actually really annoyed. So the first draft I was trying Psychic Frog over Death Shadow. The first I played 3 matches with that version. All 3 matches were against Dimir or Grixis Frog decks. It was very weird. It was like I'm not learning anything. I even think I played against a deck that was almost identical to my deck, which is so weird. I'm like, what the hell is happening? Um, but after those 3 matches, I was like, you know what? I really did not like how Psychic Frog was on the mana curve. I so we had 11 2 drops, and just Psychic Frog just felt slow and clunky. And I remembered the big problem with Moonshadow and Psychic Frog. In theory, Moonshadow and Psychic Frog and Stubborn Denial play well together, right? Because you have these cheap Dimir creatures, and they have 4 power, and all of a sudden you have Ferocious online for Stubborn Denial, and you can discard cards to Psychic Frog. The problem is you just don't have that many cards to discard. Your mana curve is really low, and you dump spells really really fast, so you don't have enough cards to discard to Psychic Frog, for Stub to work well with Psychic Frog, and for Psychic Frog to work well with Moonshadow is my current thinking. And because of and also, like, I had Street Wraith to enable Nethergoyf and Moonshadow, and it felt awkward to be a Street Wraith Thoughtseize deck without Death Shadow. I did really miss them, and also Death Shadow is really good with Stubborn Denial, and Stubborn Denial did feel pretty good yesterday. And so just having like a lower mana curve with the flow states is really nice. Is really nice. Like, your ability to go flow state into like a really powerful 1 drop is awesome. And flow state felt really well enabled between all of the cheap cantrips for Thoughtseize, for Preordain, and then the how many instances are we playing? We're playing, I think, nine. Oh, sorry, plus these stubs, so 11 instances. It felt pretty easy to get enabled. It didn't feel like the worst thing ever. Also, to just cast it as sorcery speed impulse, like, it's not. I guess it's not quite impulse, but it's like it's not. It's obviously not good to do that. But sometimes you'll play the first one to get the second one online too. It's not the end of the world. Sideboard's pretty boring. I think we'll just jump into it. I think Tamio, it's mandatory in this list. What would you cut from Tamio? One thing I really dislike about Tamio is it does not attack, and this deck is really really aggressive. And then all of a sudden, you have Tamio on one of your draws, and Tamio is like wanting you to play a much more slow, much more controlling game plan, which you don't really play very well. Another thing is, the balance of creatures to spells is pretty precarious, but the more creatures you play, the worse flow state is, especially when you already have Street Wraith and Bauble, which I think are mandatory for Moonshadow, Nethergoyf, and Death Shadow. Um, how's the Barbarian Ring deck? It was better off stream than on stream. You could try it out, but we had a pretty bad on stream day with it. It would just be kind of a different play style. Okay, so we mulligan a 0-lander. We're gonna keep the 7. I think I'll just put back the Mishra's Bauble, since we have instant sorcery and 2 flow states. I think that's good enough reason to say no to the Bauble. Although we could use the Bauble as an opt with the fetch land here. So they disrupting Shoal pitch into the Flood Maul here. So we're likely up against Blue Belcher. They suspended Lotus Bloom. Maybe we should be passing with the hope that we get to Fatal Push something and untap in Flow State. Maybe we should just be playing Flow State here. We'll see. Would you consider Vendetta? No. I don't ever really think Vendetta's good. Okay, maybe we could surveil an instant into the yard as a backup plan. That is successful, thankfully. So we're going to cast a copy of Flow State. Put Counterspell in our hand and another Nethergoyf, and also another Nethergoyf into our hand. I'm kind of used to thinking about this as expressive iteration, like I have to play one for the turn. Obviously, that's not how it works. So we have some pressure down. We will need one more power on the Nethergoyf before we're able to use it to turn on Stubborn Denial. Next turn, there's a copy of Lotus Bloom coming off suspend. Another one the turn after that. They've got 4 cards in their hand right now. Okay, that's a nice draw. Let's go ahead and Flowstate. I would prioritize a Mishra's Bauble again to get this up to 4 power, but they just have a copy of Stubborn Denial. So let's get in. They have 2 cards in their hand and 2 Lotus Blooms, so it seems like I am not very interested in counterspelling the Lotus Bloom. Do you feel like it's difficult to get Flowstate and Moonshadow working together? I'm more overthinking it. So there's obviously some tension where like all of these instants and sorceries don't trigger Moonshadow, but Flowstate can find you cards that trigger your Moonshadow. Like Moonshadow is good when you have a high density of resources, if that makes sense. And I haven't really found the tension to be particularly pronounced. How do we feel about Counterspell versus Fatal Push here? I think I'm going to use Counterspell. It's a little bit weird. But if this like doesn't work, we can maybe untap and Fatal Push. Maybe they have like a sync for the Counterspell. Yeah. I think that worked out pretty well. We do need to preordain into a Revolt Enabler. I guess Mishra's Bauble might be the most ideal one. But we'll take a Delta, which also will let me play a Goyf this turn and hold up Counterspell. I'm going to Shock again for Death Shadow. Their last card definitely could be a Belcher, and so I don't think I want to open myself up to them. Just being able to top deck a untapped land for it will just hold the Counterspell. They do know my last card is Counterspell. Having to mulligan the Mishra's Bauble away ended up being pretty punishing. If we had kept it, we would have not only more damage, but possible Stubborn Denial online. Since you're playing something like Thoughtseize, I wonder if Scour might be consideration instant over Preordain. I mean, I don't think it's really a good option to only have 4 sorceries in the deck in your Flowstate deck. I am almost entirely choosing to play Preordain over Thoughtscour because of Flowstate. I'd probably play Consider over Thoughtscour if I wanted to play it instant instead. But I don't think I want Flowstate to only be online if exactly I have a Thoughtseize in the graveyard. All right, so they play a Seagate Restoration tapped, which might mean that their last card's not Whir. So we're gonna hit their opponent for 4 down to 7. The Specimen is definitely slowing us down a lot. A Mishra's Bauble is lethal, a Street Wraith is lethal, a Fatal Push is lethal, a Sheoldred's Edict is lethal. We also have some Flowstates and Preordains to try to find one of those cards. Counterspell's lethal, basically. All right, Death Shadow not on my lethal list. Doesn't seem like there's much reason to play it. They have Pact of Negation to get, maybe? I don't think they usually main deck a Pact right now. Suppose you could counterspell the own Death Shadow? Seems pretty risky. Would technically provide lethal, though. I think that that's probably not better than holding up Counterspell. My opponent grabs a Spell Snare, so they shouldn't be able to win, though. I guess if they have Tamashi, they could. Because they can't play untapped land and then go Belcher, activate, and Snare, because they don't have the life points. But good, I think maybe a good target on the Snare, on the teachings still. Don't know. Obviously, we're going to bring in the Consigns and the Stubs. I think I'm interested in the Vexing Baubles as well. I'm going to for sure cut the Sheoldred's Edicts. I might be interested in cutting the Mishra's Baubles if I'm going to be this in on Vexing Bauble. We also have to find something to cut, of course. I think I'm going to play 3 Fatal Push, probably. Fatal Push does get a little worse with the Mishra's Bauble. I think it's a good number, though. Especially with all the card draw we have. I'm probably gonna cut the 4th Death Shadow. It's just not a good threat, and you want to be able to play your threats turn 1. It's good later, but I don't think I want to have 2 copies of my opener. Don't think I want to play the Nihil Spellbombs. So we're going to game 2 on the draw. Should be, again, a pretty good matchup. A no-lander with a lot of good cards. We do have a Street Wraith. This hand is maybe a good example of the phenomenon where people go, oh, why doesn't every deck just play infinite Street Wraiths then, or 4 Street Wraiths? Then it's like you're playing a 56 card deck. Well, you're a 56 card deck with much worse mulligans. Your much worse mulligans are a very real part of Street Wraith not being just an automatic 4 of index. Beyond the life points do matter too. Okay, then we're gonna chill here. Any reason not to use MDFCs in the show deck? Yes, they're worse than fetches and shocks and surveils. We have like harsh mana requirements, and we're only playing 16 lands. You can't really afford to play MDFCs. I'm gonna surveil here. Keep a counterspell, playing a slow, more controlling game this game, I suppose. Wired on Abigail, too high on the curve. The Rakdos deck could just afford to play cards like that a lot easier than decks that need to hold up counter magic and are playing cardinal spells. Might end up sacking the Vexing Bauble. Don't need to be in a big rush, I think. 16 lands in the deck, by the way. Probably fetch shock end of turn. I want to keep 1 fetch available for Fatal Push. So they're going to whir for a Lotus Bloom. I don't think this is something I really want to fight over too much. Obviously, the mana advantage is a problem. But I'm containing Tamashi, I'm containing Belcher pretty well. I think I just want to keep my counterspell available. Yeah, so I think let's just go and use this. Why have the Guide Pride Blink decks fallen off? Have they fallen off? I feel like I play against them a lot, and I think they look pretty good. Maybe there's something I don't understand. They returned a Hydroelectric Lab to their hand. Let's go ahead and Fatal Push the Tamashi. And they Specimen. I think this is probably a good time to use the Counterspell. I might get to use the stub as well. Yeah. We've got the Vexing Bauble in play too. She'll probably sack end of turn at this point. They have 5 cards in their hand. Now 4. They haven't. Sporos is still the highest played deck. Well, I guess I just don't know what. Oh, you're talking about the blink part, yeah. Yeah, Quantum Energy is a deck people are playing, and I think is doing well enough at least. It isn't like one of the most popular decks. I think at this point you got to cash in a Flowstate. It isn't one of the most popular decks for sure, but I wouldn't say it's doing particularly bad. Okay, they counterspell this. I feel like that's kind of a win to eat Counterspell and the Lotus Bloom for a non 16 land, by the way. Yeah, this is I feel like we're gonna have some people question the 16 lands, but they don't know who I am. I will always draw too many lands. The Blink card amused me. Were there ever Guide Prey Blink decks like Blue White Energy is way more popular before? Yeah, I guess I'm a little confused too. They have another Tamashi, which is a disaster. I haven't seen Guide Pride Blink and Challenger League results for last week. I saw an Esper version. Yeah, I haven't been looking at the leagues too close. At the very least, I'm personally playing against it a lot, and I do think that the deck is pretty good. It's I guess unclear still how things are gonna settle up. It's still a very evolving situation here in the modern metagame. Just gonna lose to the like Tamashi Seagate Restoration next turn probably. Give it a turn. Still has menace at least. I think I need to leave this uncracked for Fatal Push. Could possibly, I don't know. It's I think they're just gonna cast Seagate Wreckage here. Yeah, we could also lose the Tamashii Beads. It's not impossible here. No, they returned the Sink instead. That's interesting. I feel like if I'm them, I'm gonna cast the Seagate a lot of the time here. Maybe they think I've got a counterspell, but I feel like you just want to get that out of my hand anyways. Getting the Sink is good too, I suppose. Let's see what we find off Preordain. I'm gonna bottom both of these, even though the Goyf is not too bad. Another Consign is funny, I guess. Okay. Bounce Spark, Word to Belcher. Enough mana. I mean, my opponent was also just, like drawing a card a turn. They may think that the Sink is more important to play around my stuff, but I agree. Casting the Seagate or the Whir is good. Oh yeah, I guess they probably did have enough mana to Whir for Belcher. I think you're totally right. I may just go ahead and say counter your card draw for mana efficiency. I don't know. I know it's not that good here. Summon no Abigail. I mean, I wouldn't hate playing the Abigail, but like the counter magic kind of does like what Abigail does to some extent too. I think trading a Consign for a Shoal is a good trade. I think let's go to game. Let's go to game 3. We're super cooked here. So game 3 on the play. I wonder if maybe I could have some amount of Nihil Spellbombs. I don't think I have too many Vexing Baubles. I think I would like to play the first Nihil Spellbomb. Let's trim a Wraith. We'll trim a Moonshadow, actually. We have no... I think I'd rather do that than have 4 Moonshadows and only 3 Wraiths and no Mishra's Baubles. How do you feel about a creativity build with Fury of the Horde? So sometimes people will ask me stuff like this, like I can't just I don't know what that is, you know. I don't know what a creativity deck with Fury of the Horde is. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Like most of the things you hit off creativity don't attack immediately, which I think you would want to play in something like that, but it's not cohesive enough of an idea for me to give you feedback on it, unfortunately. I get Flusterstormed here. Nope. All right, I think I'm interested in keeping both of these. Although it may be difficult to use it may be difficult to use a Consign to get the Flowstate online. If we can consign like a one of the like creature ETBs, we will, I suppose. Okay, we get scolded. Could possibly just Flowstate now. Yeah, I think I'll actually just Flowstate now. Just get the cycle. All right, I think I take the counterspell so I have an answer to Tamashii. Not 100% sure, but I think it was okay. What about sacking the Bauble to counter the counter? Does that work that way? Then they played the explosives. We would have been able to maybe consign that. All right, so they've got 2 disputes, a force of negation, and a shoal and a preordain. I think we'll just try to maneuver around this. It becomes a 3/4 in the stack. Okay, yeah, that's a line I missed. I guess would have been pretty cool. So I do think I need to sack the Vexing Bauble, since like they're just gonna hold this until they can get a creature, and so I think I just need to feed the maybe I feed this with Nethergoyf. Yeah, let's feed this with Nethergoyf actually. Let's get rid of one. Oh wait, I can't because I don't have a fourth type besides the Goyf. I think we could just jam Shadow there. Into the explosives? I don't know. I don't think so. We're just going to have to trade the Shadow for the explosives here, probably. Okay, they wait. The Fury idea is with Goras and Gristlebrand. Well, I think it's a huge problem that if you creativity into Gristlebrand, then you aren't attacking with it, so your Furies do nothing immediately. I think it's a huge problem for the idea, but you definitely have the start of an idea, and I encourage you to keep going. But I just can't give you feedback on something so unfleshed out. Do you not have instant sorcery artifact? I don't have instant, no. It's all sorceries. Okay, let's pass back. Hopefully they don't have a whir. Okay. It's very interesting to me that they aren't sacking the explosives. It is like kind of paying off for them because I have 2 more 1-drops in my hand right now. But it's coming at the cost of them taking a lot of damage and not using any of their mana. Can you explain why you sack your explosives? I don't get it. Well, I think you would want to use your mana somewhat efficiently when your hand is just full of counterspells. Especially because you have the ability to like shoal another counterspell. You're going to have to make this trade at some point anyways, it seems. It seems like you're going to have to make this trade, and so I think you would want to try to make the trade a bit more efficient if possible. But I guess I almost don't even get why you would not sack the explosives there and just be mana inefficient and choose to take all the extra damage. So they have a shoal and they have a forest, so I'm pretty unlikely to want to sack the Vexing Bauble. Like, maybe you wouldn't sack if you feel like what your opponent's hand is just for sure full of a lot of interaction, like mine is, but I didn't really feel like they necessarily had that info. So they find a whir. I think I should just let this go. Although, maybe it was a problem to play the moon. I mean, they have double dispute. My counterspell is pretty dead, I guess. Like, I kind of just have to hope that they are on Belcher instead of Tamashi. I was thinking as long as they have land drops and they're not threatened lethal, they can gain some turns by not letting opponent put more threats. But maybe I could trade this for 2 disputes here and the bloom. Just gonna replicate once. I don't know. I just think that if you take too much damage, then all of a sudden you have to be mana inefficient later again, and then you're not gonna have that life points to not be like almost immediately dead to another threat. Yeah, so they dispute once. Yeah, I think we get them pretty good here. Trading 1 Consign for a bloom and 2 disputes in this spot is crazy. Their hand right now is Shoal, Force of Negation, and a mystery card. Have we tried Moonshadow and Death Shadow Dress Down since Flage has been banned? No. Possibly that's something we could do. So if I am able to surveil a permanent to the yard here, we can win the game by sacking our Vexing Bauble. Yeah, I tested Frog, and I felt that it was really awkward with Stubborn Denial and the lack of cards in hand to discard and the mana curve. And I tried Shadow over it, and I really liked it. Okay, so let's keep this on top where we can just sack our Vexing Bauble into a counterspell if we need to. And we also have Revolt by sacking Vexing Bauble to kill Tamashi, potentially. Should be a win. I put against Shadow Dress Down. Yeah, I think you could do that. It's cool that Dress Down is good with both of the shadows. It would be likely a pretty different build. Like you wouldn't be like in on Flowstate, right? You'd be in on Dress Down. I gotta keep this on the draw. Could be anything. My opponent's on a Mold of 6 on the play over there. Yeah, it was if they only had 2 cards there, it was definitely right. But I thought they had a 3rd card. Although they couldn't, could they force some negation to push? I guess we could stub. So we're on the draw against Prowess. If I find Thoughtseize, I do think I need to Thoughtseize turn 1 for Corey Steelcutter. So I think I will cycle both Wraiths. Although I do think it's pretty close. Do we shock here? Also pretty close. I think I'm going to just get the basic swamp. I think there's a high enough chance that I want to go Preordain plus off of basic Island next turn, and that they deal me enough damage. Couldn't force. They didn't have mana. Okay, it's okay. We won the game, but good talk. Good morning, basket. Is it worth to try to make this an Obosh build? I think you kind of have to play Bauble in a Nethergoyf Moonshadow deck. My opponent has plotted a Slickshot show off. Let me see what my top card is. Stub. I think it's important to play Bauble for that. So I think that's kind of a non-starter. I think it's almost impossible to play this deck with Obosh. Plus it's very mana intensive, despite being pretty cool. So I was right about wanting to get basics here. Kosk, I see you mentioning Flowstate in the chat. I was doing something with Flowstate. What was it? Or so no, sorry, it's not Flowstate, Stock Up. There was something I was supposed to do with Stock Up off stream, and you've kind of reminded me here. Alright, I think I'm just supposed to play both Death Shadows and hope that they can't kill me. Very, very tough. We had talked about Stock Up in a deck. Let me check my notes. I don't know why it's bothering so much. Just like one comment Stock Up, but a Synapse is trying to fire, and yet again I find it unable to. Oh, it was Collected Conjuring. That's what it was. We were talking about Stock Up in a possible Collected Conjuring deck, and I didn't end up trying it yesterday. I did think a little bit about Tablet, Collected Conjuring, Stock Up, Price of Freedom, Wildfire. That's right. Oh, you remember Gadget. Your synapses are firing better than mine. So hopefully we can figure that out. Been seeing a lot of Shadow Solitude just on a major decline. So I don't know if this is copium or what, but like I've always been of the opinion that like while Solitude is good against Death Shadow, it's not so disastrous that the existence of Solitude is going to stop me from putting Death Shadow in a deck. I find that I can often play around Solitude in a way that like isn't just a huge blowout. And sometimes you can't, and sometimes you get blown out. But I feel like it's not like you're playing an Asmo deck when Wrath the Skies is popular in a format. You know what I mean? It's not just such a disaster that someone is going to register Solitude against you that you can't play it. Collected Conjuring Sudden Eruption. Yeah, it sounds pretty fun. I ended up working on this, and I ended up working on the green-black Saga Nissa Viper deck last night. That is still so. I think I might end up streaming with it after all. And I also updated Green White Birthing Ritual to include the Springleaf Drum tech, which is maybe going to be boring to you, but is exciting to me. Could Cecil go for Goyf? I think that Goyf is noticeably better. I think this is an example of a game where it's noticeably better. I'm a big Nethergoyf fan. I would talk about Preordain over Scour, Synergy with Moonshadow, Flowstate, Goyf seems strong. I would probably play Consider between those two for the card selection, and you know, you lose some of the equity there. But I think that you just don't have enough sorceries if you don't play Preordain. And I'm interested in playing enough sorceries. So if I Thoughtseize, I could possibly make both of my Death Shadows 7/7s. If they're 7/7s, my opponent will need to block both of them here. So that seems good. We don't actually need to make them 7/7s. We just need to threaten being able to make them 7/7s. So I'm going to be at 9, fetch shock down to 6. Probably take the Swift Spear. Although... So we make them chump block. Make them chump block. 9, 6. So if I take Bolt, I could take Bolt and I could play Death Shadow. And I'd be at 6, and that would lose to a top deck Slickshot Show Off. Is there any way not to lose to a top deck Slickshot Show Off? If I take the Violent Urge and stub the Bolt, I'll be at 6, and I'll take 5. Now, how does that play around what they have in their hand? I could stub the Bolt, and if they draw Lava Dart, I'd be at 6. They would have a Swift Spear with 3 Prowess triggers. So that's a 4 power Swift Spear and 2 damage from the Dart. So I would die to top deck Dart. Take a spell, not the monk. It mostly seems you can just counter the show off now. No, sub only counters non-creatures. So it seems like if I take Bolt, I lose to top deck show off, and if I take Urge, I lose to top deck Lava Dart. If I take Swift Spear, I lose to top deck show off. I think take Bolt, play Shadow. Yeah, I think it's better to lose to top deck show off, right? I think it's because there's only 3 show offs, so there's 4 Lava Darts. You can make it a more deck of the Conjuring. Oh, you know, we did a little bit more thinking than our opponent here, huh? Yeah, I was thinking it was gonna be a tablet deck. That was a big part of the collected Conjuring idea, was playing tablet in it. Maybe Ruby Medallion too. I don't have another basic, only playing 2, so I could get down to 16 lands. Okay, we're gonna play the 4th copy of Stubborn Denial. I haven't been loving Shield. I might be cutting all the edicts. Maybe play 1. I have to play all the Thoughtseizes for Steel Cutter. Could play 1 Edict, could play 1 Vexing Bauble. Play 1 Edict, I guess. I felt that Shadow's a bad prowess matchup despite maybe winning here. I've been winning against it. With Rakdos at least, and I played against it once last night and I won with this build. Vexing is pretty nice. I think it's okay. I think it's a little worse than the draw. It turns off my baubles too, so it's mostly like their Mutagenic Growth, which they may board out against the Fatal Push deck, Flashback Dart, and plotted Show Off, but they may not plot Show Off game 2. It's pretty random. When they do plot Show Off and you play Vexing Bauble, you feel like a freaking genius, though. Another thing too about like Vexing Bauble is like countering Flashback Dart often doesn't matter almost at all. It's like Flashback Dart is just almost a blank spell that just is a spell, and like the 1 damage matters less than them casting a spell, which the Vexing doesn't stop. How about Subnerve Just Down? I think it's pretty high on the curve, although and it's also it's bad with Nethergoyf, right? So if you were gonna play a dress down Moonshadow Death Shadow build, I think you could do that, but you would not be on Nethergoyf in that version, I imagine. And it sounds like you could do that, but then you're probably not in on Stubborn Denial in that version either. I do think Stubborn Denial is pretty dang good right now. So it's a combo. Does Frog not fit this? Yeah, I had it in my first build over Death Shadows, and I just didn't like it very much. And we've also played Moonshadow Frog before, and like I think Frog and Stub just don't play very well together. It's kind of hard to get enough cards to discard to have Stub online for Frog. It's hard to have enough cards to like discard for Moonshadow. Frog just feels like it just doesn't fit the deck very well. In addition, partially, and in addition to because it just raises the curve a lot. How much of an improvement do you think Flowstate is compared to EI here? It's really big because it lets you be 2 colors. I think being 2 colors is huge for the Shadow archetype. Any thoughts on updates to the Trudge list? Dude, I love the Trudge 75. I would maybe tweak the sideboard a little bit. I keep getting like I've had probably 10 messages from people going like, Spike, I love the Trudge deck. I really want to change the sideboard, and I don't know how to change it. Which I think is very funny. That they don't know how to change it, but they feel the need to change it. I think that's kind of a funny dynamic, and so like obviously you could tweak the sideboard a little bit. Like I see a lot of people playing Grafdigger's Cage to compensate for Neoform, but in my experience right now, Neoform seems to be like greatly on the decline. So I feel I would probably run almost exactly the same 75 back, which means that we're probably not going to be streaming it anytime soon. All right, Show Off plays well around the Stub, unfortunately. Would you play Stub in Domain Zoo along with Frog Riddler over Kavu? I would keep Kavu in Domain Zoo for sure, regardless of any other changes that you make. What's the Trudge deck? I've have a brew that's kind of been a little bit of a breakout brew. It tries to combine Slumbering Trudge with Fight Rigging or Mosswort Bridge that you can tutor off Sowing Mycospawn and cast either all of the green MDFCs or Emrakul or Devour of Destiny. It's been really good. I've top 8'd both challenges I've played with it, and it's also done well in the hands of other players and a bunch of tournaments now. It's been pretty successful. Can you say more about the 2-color thing? I always thought the 3rd color in Shadow was pretty free. I don't think it's free anymore. Like I think Surveil specifically make the 3rd color a little bit more awkward, and it's also just 2-color mana bases are they feel so much better than 3-color mana bases. It's not the biggest deal ever, but I do think that for me a huge drawing point to this deck is I get to stay 2 colors. It's not the end of the world one way or another, but I've really liked it. How's the caffeine withdrawal going? I am back on caffeine. I did like 3 or 4 weeks off of it, and I'm just doing 40 milligram like teas a day. But I just literally I couldn't prep for the stream, exercise, read, and work on write and like work on the game in a day. I would almost always not be able to do 2, sometimes 3 of those things. When I was off caffeine, I was just feeling so unproductive. And I just, I don't really feel too much worse, being on it, but I just have to be doing these things. So the mutagenic growth. Boros is already back to 16% over the last 7 days. Oh my gosh. Is Toxic Deluge not playable in Death Shadow anymore? I don't know that it ever was playable. I have never really been a big fan of Deluge in Modern, no. I guess I keep the Mishra's Bauble since this grows the Nethergoyf and it gives me the same amount of looks at a Fatal Push as just bottoming it does. Would be nice to also play Goyfs here. I mean, it's possible I could just play 2 Nethergoyfs and just hope not to be dead. I would check maybe iron deficient. Tyrants are not productive. I guess I could look into that, but I will say I love you all. The chat doctoring is almost never productive convo. Well, I guess I'll stub this. I've been a big Sacred Foundry advocate for a while now. I believe it's the play. You know, you're probably joking, but it's a joke I've seen a lot. I do wonder if there's anyone who's actually unironically like, it's obvious, ban Sacred Foundry, guys. We could have looked at our top. If it's not a push, we could have played Goyf. I think, yeah, that's true. Although the thing is, playing a second Goyf doesn't do much because it's not going to be lethal next turn. Unless they fetch Shockier, then... okay, so it's not going to be lethal next turn, so it's almost always going to be better to hold up Stub than to do that. Okay, so they heat. They have 1 card in their hand. I'm obviously dead to any spell. Here is any spell. All right. Going to game 3 on the play. You know what? I'm actually going to go down. I think I'm wrong about Edicts being bad. I think they're a bit better in the play, but let me go down 2 Wraiths. Their Wraiths are pretty bad against them, right? Can sometimes be good to like save a shadow from a bolt. Like it can be kind of tricky. I want to trim a Counterspell too. I don't know. I feel like Counterspell is so nice against Prowess, where like if you stabilize, it just wins the game to have one in your hand, and it's like all of the cards you want to counter are 2 mana. Maybe on the draw that's more the case that you could trim Counterspell, but on the play I think it's so good. Just any card that can counter Corey Steelcutter efficiently, especially on the play, is so important. Spike, do you find anything truly exciting in the Marvel set? Truly exciting. I don't think anything's crazy. There's probably gonna be about 20 cards in the PowerPoint, maybe closer to 30. The card I'm the most excited for is Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl is like I think gonna be a pretty fun tool for the Green Sun Zenith decks, especially the Fanatic of Ronus ones. Could be like an Ouroborid type card that looks pretty unassuming and ends up being a lot stronger than you would expect it to be. 2 Zerlos ago. I have not done a Marvel video yet. No, I'm gonna try to. I'm going out of town this weekend, so I don't know how much I'm gonna get done on it this weekend. Okay, so mold 5. Hard to say no to 2 Death Shadows. I'm gonna put back the 2 mana spells here. And prepping for Dark Seeker this weekend, trying to decide what to play. Burn, I've had 60% Weird in Moto, or Storm, I've had 54%. I do think Burn is. Oh my gosh.
I don't know how you didn't see me.
What's up?
Lucy's levels are good. They're getting.
Okay, great. Scary. I think you could play either deck. 60% win rate's really good. Maybe Burn's a sleeper. Are you playing Incinerator Burn? Fantastic card, 3 mana, 16 hate power seems good. Okay, what is this card? Okay, it's probably not in the Mox field yet. Link it to me, I'll take a look. I got a Preordain. I do think I'm just gonna get this out of bolt range and start attacking. It's a commander only card. Ah. What does it do? Okay, 3 mana, 4/4. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may have the Fantastic card become an artifact creature until end of turn. Whenever you cast your 4th non-creature spell in a turn, you may sacrifice the Fantastic card. If you do, make 4 4/4s with flying and haste. This card is definitely a textbook example of like why cards that are designed for this card is like not that good at multiplayer and is like too good at 1v1. And it's annoying that the cards designed for multiplayer, a lot of them, like I don't even know if this card is going to be good in Commander. Like at least with my memory of Commander, like the powerful things to be doing in that format were always like, it was always like not just putting a bunch of big creatures into play because life totals were so high and sweepers were so good. And I would always play a deck with a lot of sweepers, which is maybe why I have this perception. But like it's just very annoying that this card seems like it's I don't think I'll probably see that much play in Commander, and I think it will be very good in Legacy and Vintage and Cube. And it's like it's I think for again, I'm not someone I'm very affected by this, but it's one thing that keeps me from playing Legacy is the existence of cards like this. So they exile a Lightning Bolt, and then they attack me for 3. Are they going to be... I guess they're not playing the Bolt this turn. So they missed their land drop. I'm going to be attacking them for 6. I guess I just hold up Counterspell here. So this puts me to 7. Maybe they're going to Unholy Heat and Dynamite Counterspell. That did Mutagenic Growth, I guess. Let's go. 10th game. We're 2-0. Like, I remember True Name Nemesis and Leovold were 2 cards that I really, really disliked, and these were definitely designed for multiplayer, mainly impactful in 1v1. White Plume got banned. I see. Again, I don't keep up too much, but 4th is playable. Anything else? I think I'll be keeping both of these. No, weird. You see many more Modern Horizons cards than anything. Oh, is Oko good at Legacy? I remember it was like not that good when it was first coming out. Yeah, I know Leovold is a boomer card now. I know True Name doesn't see play now, but like I'm just saying that these are the cards that in my personal experience stopped me from playing the format. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm glad I tapped the wrong color. I obviously meant to cast Preordain here. Pretty interested in both of these. One of the best cards in Legacy is Barragoyf. I know I've heard that Barragoyf is good, which I think is fun. When you say it's one of the best cards, though, like maybe it is one of like the more premier threats, but it's also like there's no way it's like a top 50 Legacy card. Corey's got to be crazy in Legacy. It is. There's no way. There's a zero chance. It is easily. Oh my gosh. How is that possible? Like over all the Dark Rituals and K Command and Ancient Tomb, Force of Will, Swords of Plowshares, Dark Ritual, Lion's Eye Diamond, Fourth, Up the Beanstalk. Is the Ring legal? Tamio is 21 most played card overall. Does that make it best? I don't know. I mean, if it's top 50 most played, then I'm just totally willing to be wrong. That's shocking to me. Thank you for the history lesson. They find a temple or another Myco spawn. They're probably gonna grab the temple. It's a little bit unfortunate I don't have Revolt to push right now. To turn on my flow states. It's kind of a failed hand, I guess. Like, I suppose I'm just going to flow state now, try to find a fetch land. And fail miserably. I'm going to go to game 2. Alright, going to bring in all the consigns. Obviously. And I think I'm going to cut all the fatal pushes. And play like maybe 2 edicts, maybe 0. Maybe 1. I do think I don't know if I don't know how many stubs I like, but I do like stub against them. I might go down to Counterspell too. Yeah, I agree. Respecting Sire is nice. What do you think about Overlord of Balmork looks like this? I would hate it. It's like way too high on the curve. Like I'm not even playing Psychic Frog, because and like Overlord is just so slow. Okay, we'll keep this. How much of Barragoyf being good, Legacy gamers? How much of Barragoyf being good is due to Dark Ritual? Yeah, I played this out for Vexing Bauble, but I'm gonna not crack it yet for the second Moonshadow trigger. Not much. 0. Okay, interesting. Chromax Tomb, hell yeah. A lot of Legacy gamers in the chat. What did they grab? They grabbed a lab. If I had a sorcery in the yard, I would probably consign the lab ETB to get the flow states going. I think I will consign a talisman here. I guess maybe this is going to be a spot where the first flow state turns on the second one. They reveal a Kozilek's command. Good card to know about. Drawing my other basic is so annoying. Barragoyf and Kaito are premier mid-range threats. Very interesting. They may go like Rumble or Talisman into K Command. They may just play a Myco Spawn. They play an Ice Toe. So they have an Holy Heat. I think Barrow will be really good at Modern, but wouldn't break the format. I think the comment that Kaito is a premier threat and the Legacies is pretty telling. I guess I need to play this so I can have Consign up for K Command and then stub for the Heat right now. I think it's pretty telling for the power level of so I need that. This gives me lethal next turn. Power level of the card. or not the power level, sorry, the like maybe the like just the difference between legacy and modern, right? Like Kaito is like kind of barely fringe playable in modern, premier legacy threat. Tamio is the best creature in legacy, potentially not one of the best creatures in I mean it's a good creature. It's just not one, it's not a top 5 creature. Just the two formats are just really different, right? I have a hard time imagining Barragoyf would be that good. I think it would be maybe somewhat playable. So if they play Devour here, I can consign the cast trigger and then Edict. I can also just consign K command. Cavern doesn't really change that dynamic. I don't know if it looks like they can cast Emrakul. I can beat Emrakul here. Spike, I think you should try Legacy nowadays to get the format feeling. Maybe. I mean, I do like Legacy a lot. I do also like it is just tough to play 2 formats at once. It takes a long time to become like a master of a format. I think I should counter this. And I don't know that I would hopefully this isn't K return. Is it maybe Writhing Chrysalis? They tapped too much mana for it though. It's second K command? Well, you don't beat the second K command too often, huh? They make 3 spawns to get their block on. Then they can Ugin me next turn. So I need to find a Consign or maybe Stub. Yeah, I gotta keep the Stub. Interesting block. I guess just any land still lets them cast Ugin. They just have another Ugin already in their hand. So unfortunately this is Stub and not a second Consign, which means we're probably gonna have to top deck a Flowstate to get out of this. Or, I mean, we could draw Consign. They just have another Ugin in their hand over there. They keep a card on top. I guess this is fine. Have we tried to build a Dimir Shadow deck that's more mid-range? It can play Frog and Quantum Riddler, replacing Nethergoyf and Flowstate. What you're describing, right, is normal Dimir Frog with that, like that. You're describing stock Dimir Frog right now, which is fine. You can play the deck. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's like I wouldn't also play Death Shadow, right? Like playing Death Shadow requires Street Wraith, which is not something I'd play with Quantum Riddler, and it's not something I played Psychic Frog and I didn't like Psychic Frog very much. And so again, while yes, you can play let's keep the Wraith so I can have a slightly lower life total for top deck shadows. So like while yes, you can play of course stock Frog, it's not, I want to play Shadow in it. And if I want to play Shadow, I'm going to play a lower to the ground deck that can take advantage of the low mana curve and the stubs better. Uh-oh. I'm shocked Ugin didn't break the format. I mean, ultimately, Ugin's 7 mana. It is definitely like you can't really ever outgrind it unless you can like immediately counter it or kill it. But at the end of the day, it is 7 mana. So not the best use of the Consign, but with the Cavern out there, it's not going to get too much better. It'd be kind of funny if they played top decked another Ugin without a land and I got to stub it here. I can see like Watermax Realists here. I'm playing 16 lands. Come on, Death Shadow. Still 4 of them in the deck. Uh-oh, they have a spell. Why not full replicate? They have a Cavern. tank flare on stub is kind of funny. Okay. 2-1. Take it. Let's keep our 7 on the play. Think I'm going to lead on the Thoughtseize. Who's the best MTG player of all time? I'd say Jim O'Carr, for sure. Chat, would you agree? Jim O'Carr, best Magic player of all time? 2 ley lines. Hopefully get to Thoughtseize a Sign of Draco. I think I'm actually going to lead on the Nethergoyf now. Since I want to give myself the maximum chance to Thoughtseize a Sign of Draco, which means casting it next turn. Do you think a Bug Shell could be viable in Modern? Do you mean Insects Tribal? Or do you mean Sultai? I mean, every once in a while we'll play a Sultai deck. There are some, I think, playable Sultai Shells, yeah. So bad news is they have 2 bolts, so my Moonshadow is going to die. Good news, I got to take the Scion. Other good news, we have Fatal Push for the Kavu. Maybe we could have Thoughtseize first, but then we lose out on our Moonshadow counter, so it's kind of difficult to sequence that way. Their hand is Lightning Bolt Kavu. And they shock to hold up another copy of Lightning Bolt here. I'll cycle a Wraith. We're down to 11. And I guess we'll pass back. So their hand is Bolt, Mystery card. We do have Flowstates online, so nice to have 4 of those in the deck somewhere. Cannot say no to a Sheoldred's Edict here. Interesting upkeep stop. If I escape a Nethergoyf, I no longer have Flowstate online, and it's just going to immediately die to a Bolt, so don't think I'm in a big rush to do that. One of the cards they've drawn is a Flooded Strand. They play a Ragavan, which does feel bad to Edict. I do think I kind of have to Edict. I've got too many good hits for them. So if I Nethergoyf, it'll be a 2/3 still dying to Bolt, and oh wait, no, so I get to keep land. I get to keep land, creature, instant, but I remove sorcery. Okay, I think that's more important than keeping the just having a threat that survives Bolt is probably better than wait, what's wrong? Why didn't that cast? More important than having top deck Flowstate live. Okay, 1 instant, 1 land, one creature, 1 sorcery. Yeah, I would love a second Surveil. I just think on 16 you can't really play it. Do you think Eshki can still be played in Modern without feeling embarrassed? I'm gonna say no. I think that there's just too many other like good green threats that have been printed to like make it almost. There's no way to play Eshki. Eshki was really cool like when it worked, but it like I'd say that this is even like a big part of like what I do on the stream is I find cards that I kind of know could be good Modern cards if you do everything to build a deck around them. And Eshki's like an example of like having a 4 power haste ward 1 creature that's drawing a card every turn, getting bigger every turn, like is pretty powerful. But the thing is you have to build your deck really bad in order for this card to be powerful. And so like a big part of what I do is I take these cards, I play them, I build a deck around them where the card can shine, and then if that's good, then I'll start pulling back and I'll start to play it in decks that are better with it in more of a supporting role than a featured role to see how it plays there. And so a lot of times if like the deck is just not and if the deck is just not good, then I won't pursue it further. Is the Image 3 Grisflame Planeswalker truly unplayable? I mean, I think if like Sorcery Speed Disenchant if it was for some reason really good, then it would be more playable. That would be like a good reason to build a deck around it. But as it stands, I would call it unplayable, yes. 16 lands, by the way. I think I'm gonna hold these for Moonshadow. 16 lands, by the way. Although it's nice that a Moonshadow can now survive the Lightning Bolt that's in my opponent's hand and turn on stub. What about Eshki and Rhinos? I don't think you'd be very good at triggering it. So you're almost always playing 1 spell a turn, right? Gonna start a competitor to the website 17 lands. Call it 16 lands, by the way. But we're also getting pretty flooded, at least. Yes, do you need the Thoughtseize first? Take the bolt. Okay, we also have 4 Flowstates in the deck. That's pretty nice. Need to dodge a Scion of Draco for sure. They drew a Flooded Strand for turn. We drew the third and final Stubborn Denial. They're on a 2-turn clock. Yeah, opponent definitely drawing bad as well. Found a spell. Hopefully it's a non-creature spell. It's a Scion of Draco. So we do have some Sheoldred's Edicts. We could also draw a Shadow or another Nethergoyf and like race this potentially. That's not anything. So there's a Death Shadow. It would be good enough to draw this turn. It's not going to be good enough to draw next turn because my opponent's just going to kill me in 2 turns. So let's go ahead and shuffle that away. I have only 1 Edict left, although I do also have like a lot of cantrips in the deck to like dig for Edict. 60 lands, by the way. So let's go down to 1 life. We have 4 Flowstate, 4 Preordain, and 1 Sheoldred's Edict to draw into. Sees the same amount of cards unless we hold up Stub. Miss. 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 Bummer. Okay, so I'm going to bring in an Edict. Nice to not have to play Nihil Spellbomb anymore against their deck. I'm going to play some number of Consigns. I could see Consigns being like largely better than Stub. So like this hits Bolt, but this hits Scion and Leyline. Hard to say exactly what their like plan B is. Maybe I'll play like 1 Stub, 2 Consign, maybe 2/2, maybe 2/3, something like this. Kind of interested in trimming a couple Wraiths against the Lightning Bolt deck. I do like to have Counterspell against them. Could be interesting going down to Moonshadow against the Lightning Bolt deck. I think I'm going to keep them all in. I think I like this split. Let's go down to just 1 Wraith, I guess. Okay, we'll keep this. We'll lead on Watery Grave, Moonshadow Bauble. They have a bolt. It's not ideal, but at least my my Nethergoyf will be bigger if the Moonshadow dies. Taking on Wraiths makes Moonshadow worse too. Should split the outs there. I don't know what you mean by outs. But I agree it makes our Moonshadows a little worse. 60 lands, I can't get away with this. Did you show up this game? Or did you see last game? So they have the bolts. As in what you're citing out. Yeah, but like I guess I just don't know what you're like. So you say split the outs. I don't exactly know what that means, and I'm just kind of curious what you would cite out instead. You know, instead of, I don't exactly know what you mean by split the outs, but like what do you want to sideboard out instead of the Wraiths? So they've kept another 1-lander, which means they probably have another Scion. I think we'll keep both of these. Once I cast an instant, there'll be 4/5s. I'm saying take out 2 Wraiths already. I'm taking out 1 Moonshadow before the first. That's great. Yeah, that's great. And thank you for the feedback. I just didn't know what you meant. What do you think is main board better than Hollowvine, Lightning Axe, or Unholy Heat? I kind of just encourage like Tarfire or Lightning Bolt instead. I really just like being able to go face because you're such an aggro deck. And I don't know that there's like that many bigger creatures that you really care about killing right now. Kind of depends on if you're playing Nethergoyf. Like if you're playing Nethergoyf, Tarfire obviously gets a lot better. So I think we just Fatal Push this and have a 2-turn clock. Flowstate online, but let's just hold up the Counterspell. All right. Do I want the 4th Consign on the draw? I think no. We also have Thoughtseize, we have Edicts. I think I just need to keep in all my creatures, even if Moonshadow's kind of weak to Lightning Bolt. I like that this hand has Thoughtseize. I like that it has Thoughtseized Death Shadow. I like that it has Edict. We can try to Preordain into land number 2. This hand is mostly weak to turn 1 Ragavan, but I think we should keep. Spike, you don't think 3-color is the most free in Shadow as a Life Lord benefit? No, I think people like overthink it. I think just 2-color mana bases are so much better than 3-color mana bases. It's like, yes, shocking is like less painful, but it's not just about the shocking. It's also just about how you stumble more on 3-color mana bases than 2-color mana bases, and you get to have perfect mana and with this, and you have imperfect mana with 3 colors. It's not. I don't think it needs to be all this complicated. And like I think I've felt this way a lot more since Surveil lands have been printed. Like when like, and I know we're only playing one Surveil land here, but like I would not feel comfortable playing a 16 land deck with 3 colors. Like your mana base is just not consistent enough to play a 6. You have to play 18 lands minimum for 3 colors, and I've really liked the 16 land count here. Okay, wasn't expecting them to be on a all counterspell draw. It's definitely good against my need to resolve a cantrip to find a land draw. Does that make sense? And I'm not like really dying to play any red cards here. So they have Domain. They have a little think. They have a pass of the turn. Draw a land. They have a pause in my draw step now. I mean, it doesn't seem like they're ghosting the way they like played into my Consign so hard last game. Just a weird like time to grow a draw step pause. If I play my Moonshadow, it's gonna trade for removal, but I think that's just gonna have to be okay. No, I'm not. I like Abigail a lot in Rakdos. I feel like it's hard to play Abigail if you're playing Counterspell in your deck. And I'm just kind of okay saying it's a bit too difficult with Counterspell. So I probably don't want to play the Goyf into a likely binding. Do they have a surgical extraction? I think they're going to surgical extraction me. No, they have. Okay. Tap for white to untap, tap for black, then surgical Preordain? Surgical Moonshadow. Okay. I told you I should have cut some. You were right. I should have cut Moonshadows. They're going to surgical them. I asked because you're clearly high on 2-color. I thought this deck would make sense. I think red and black could potentially use. Okay, I think red, black could potentially use blue more than this could use red. I think that's true. I'm also playing, I think, more than 16 lands in the red-black build. I think that's true. Although I'd like the Rakdos build, I would still recommend it. Have I come across anyone playing your similar variation of Fight Rigging deck? Yeah, a lot of people have told me that they've picked it up and have been liking it. It's been one I've been getting a lot of good feedback on. I would recommend it a lot. It's probably the deck I'm like kind of default choosing for bigger tournaments right now. I would keep a fetch land, but a regular shock doesn't let me play Death Shadow, so I think I'm just gonna bottom both of these. This does shrink my possible Nethergoyfs too. I guess I could play Goyf with stub up, and if they have bolt, I can stub the bolt, which doesn't counter it, but it does make my bolt a 3/4. Have I played against it all? Yeah. Yeah, probably like 10-ish times, maybe. Okay, so we'll do that, and then if we do end up stubbing Bolt, then we'll have Flowstate online, although this is worse. This is a lot worse if they just play Binding. Okay, nice. Did I see Legend VD made a video in Treasure Stork? I guess I'm not familiar with them. I'm not really too into Not really into YouTube Magic the Gathering these days. What's this guy doing here? I thought you were banned, dude. Although it's nice to be playing against this guy and have it not be like insane against my deck. Hard to say no to another Flowstate. I don't need another land. That's fine. Famous last words, I guess. Okay, Dispute is pretty awkward. What's the last card in their hand? It's I guess it's a Leyline. It has to be a Leyline. Could be a Surgical, I guess. No, they would have used it last turn. Are they gonna chump block? Yeah, I'll watch Rhystic Studies pretty often too. So I guess let's try to bait this Dispute on the Preordain. I could play a Death Shadow and just let it die to have these both be 5-power creatures next turn. Not necessarily that interested in doing that, but just an option. Oh, they have Wrath? I guess that does make some sense, doesn't it? For them to have been holding onto Wrath, and then for them to have chump blocked with the Doorkeeper Thrall. Although they could have kept this Doorkeeper Thrall. I feel like we're winning this game in a big way because my opponent has Doorkeeper Thrall and Surgical in post board. Looks like they're going to store an extra energy for another possible Wrath. So if I draw a fetch land, I'll just play Shadow with a Counterspell up. Okay. I guess I'll take 1-2. Maybe should have grabbed the Swamp, but I got to draw extra cards. They found something. Maybe Ragavan? Well, pretty dang good Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Haven't been this scared of a Fable in a while. Seems like I should be playing Shadow Goyf Hold Up Stub. I guess playing Goyf first was a little better. They declined to use Fable's ability. Pretty cool game. Do they have another Wrath? It's very difficult not to stub this binding, so let's stub it. If they have another binding as their last card, it's really miserable because they could binding the Goyf in response and then pay for the first one, but thankfully that wasn't the case. They may still have stub. It wouldn't be the end of the world. Or sorry, not stub, Wrath Disguise. I draw a copy of Counterspell. I think I'm just going to go Fatal Push on the Shaman and attack for 7 with Counterspell up. I don't know what their other card is. It's not a Counterspell. It is a spell. It's not a spell they played last turn. It's not, and like it's definitely a spell because they didn't discard it to the Fable. Not a Counterspell. Not a creature. Not a spell they could cast. I don't know. I have no idea. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, does it? Does this card matter at all? It matters a little bit. I think I'm just going to point a Counterspell, and I've got 2 Counterspells, and if they have a removal spell as their last card, it's not that big a deal. And they give us the GG. I'm pretty confused. Weird match. Let's get a 4-1 prediction going. All right, opponent's on a mold to 6. I'm on a mold to 6. Not a great mold to 6, but I think I have to keep since it is a mold to 6. Gonna put back Swamp probably. My opponent was last seen playing Merfolk, which is cool. This is making me not sure about playing Red Black Shadow. I do like Red Black Shadow a lot. Ooh, hate this hand on the draw against Devourer. So they say no. So we're playing against Tron. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I guess could it be Brood-Scale? Brood-Scale basically never plays Ugin. Are they gonna Chalice on one here? I guess I'll just concede. Literally, I literally cannot beat this, but outside of Hardcast Street Wraith, I guess. I'll be bringing in some engineered explosives, so I have outs to Chalice. Could also like pop against spawn tokens, which isn't nothing. I'm gonna cut all 4 Fatal Push, and I'll play 2 or 3 Sheoldred's Edicts. I think I will go down a Death Shadow because just I don't want to be stuck in that same situation again. I might play 0 removal spells. We have the Consigns. We can ignore Fleshraker. I think on the play I kind of like 0. What else would we cut? I could cut a Preordain. Play 1 Edict. Woke my wife up laughing at that. Sorry, Logan's wife. So we've got double Thoughtseize, Cheap Threats, only 1 land. I do like having double Thoughtseize. What a mulligan. Juliet with a 43. Thank you. Welcome back. I do like this hand more. It doesn't seem like we need this explosives in the opening hand. Any plans on returning to Trudge too soon? Not exactly. Okay, we'll keep the Flowstate since we should actually have it enabled pretty fast here. Not exactly. I guess I would play to the Showcase Challenge this weekend, but I'm going out of town to visit a friend. So, like, I kind of have it relegated to I'm gonna play it if I want to play a tournament, and I think it's like a really good tournament choice. But, like I guess I don't really have a deck locked in for this weekend's challenge. We could play Trudge again if we don't find anything. Could play this. I don't know. They have 2 chalices. I think I'm taking one. Satex with the 29 months. Welcome back. And Juliet with the 43 again. Thank you. Speaking of returning things, do you think Arc Reactor is playable in Anviltron? I guess I'd have to read that one again. But yeah, I have been kind of thinking about Anviltron and Dice Factory, just kind of returning to those builds. More Ruby Ponza, please. Challenge with it. We did one challenge with it. It went poorly. Oh, the Improvised Strand Dynamo. Yeah, I don't think that would be good for that deck, right? So it's really awkward if I consign this, then I don't currently have an answer to the Chalice, but if I could maybe Flowstate into like a Goyf and have the stub up, or I can find Thoughtseize or Consign. Let me see Cycle the Wraith first. Okay, my Death Shadow would be 5 power. My Goyf is also 5 power. Oh no, sorry. It's not 5 power. It's 4 power. So I guess I'm going to go with the 5. But yeah, I do like the Improvised Strand Dynamo. Like I think probably that and Squirrel Girl are like the 2 cards I like the most from the set. It should be like a reasonably good standard set to work on. Nothing too crazy. Okay, their hand is Mindstone, Ugin's Lab, Mystery card. They don't imprint. Hopefully the Mystery card's not 3rd Chalice. Okay, let's keep both of these. Deploy the 1-mana creatures. And if we can Preordain into a Street Wraith, Thoughtseize, or Fetchland or Shockland, we can win the game next turn with Stub up this turn. Speaking of Dice Factory, I know we tested a lot of Jete. Did we put it there? It's like definitely not the case that putting charge counters on Jete makes it good. But you can't put that enough charge counters on it with the enablers that exist in Modern for charge counters. They don't exist. Like you're just not putting it nearly enough. Like you're getting like one. You're never attacking and blocking with it. It just doesn't make sense. My friends thought it was crazy for thinking Squirrel Girl seems like a some potential. Dude, we're playing Aurora Borid. It's like Squirrel Girl definitely has consideration. Squirrel Girl, like if you played Squirrel Girl with Fnatic up, you can activate it immediately. Squirrel Girl Badger Ball seems kind of sick. Like unironically, Squirrel Girl could end up just being really good. We'll have to see. It also has like triple pips for Nykthos, which is something I always think about and never ends up being relevant. Seems like my opponent's thinking about exiling a bunch of stuff from my graveyard to shrink the Goyfs. Don't think that's going to end up working. Obviously, we're just going to stub the K command here. Yeah, Replicate Consign gets around Chalice. That's actually, I remember in the... someone at Wizard said that was why it has Replicate. It's a 4-mana 4/4. Or it is a 1-mana, is a 4-mana 1/3. You know? And we have, you know, got second in the challenge with it. We've trophied a lot. It's like... there's more text on it, right? It's actually not. It's also it's a 4-mana 4/4 and a 1/1. You know, it does come with 5 power stats, so it's not even. It's even bigger than that. They replicate to kind of Eldritch cast trigger. I guess that too, but they did mention Chalice. I remember. Right, I can't cast Counterspell, unfortunately, so I have to bottom both of these, and we find a Thoughtseize, which wins. Oh, dude, they had Ugin. We might have been able to beat Ugin with this without the Thoughtseize, but they couldn't have cast. So they draw land, the exile 1, and then yeah, I think we would have won anyways. Okay, going to game 3. I think I like my sideboard plan. Maybe I think I'm gonna go -1 Preordain, +1 Edict. A little bit worried about the flow states. We'll see. Opponent mold to 6. I think I'm a lot more comfortable keeping this on a mold to 6. Scientist Supreme of Aim seems like it's potential. There's been success copying triggers. So I've seen a lot of people talk about that card. I don't really see the vision for it. I guess I'll wait for the Moonshadow. Just Thoughtseize here. Okay, take the Chalice. So they're gonna get a Flesh Raker going this game. I don't really see the vision for that card though. Like what are you copying? Maybe there is a vision for it, but I don't have it, whatever it is. So if my top card's a Consign, I guess we will not play the Goyf here. Okay. CC Call Me Livin' with the 40. Wait, is that a... There's a drink in Japan called CC Lemon. Is your username a reference to that? It was really good. Like I had probably had like 3 a day. Not currently. I mean, it's one that we could like work on and think about, right? But it's for I just don't have a vision for it. This Karn's looking pretty castable. It is a reference. Cool. I had to go to Japan to find out. So they probably take the Counterspell. I don't think we have them here, but they were so good. Is it like Lemonade? It's kind of like Lemonade. It's not as sugary though. Punk Boy, are you with the 9 months? Thank you. Welcome back. So they have no cards in their hand. Thoughtseize not looking too good. It's Preordain. Let's see. Gonna have to keep the Consign, or I should say we get to keep the Consign maybe. Like also being an instant grows the Goyfs, which is really nice. Punk Boyardee, also good username with the 9 months. Isn't there an artifact that has all the abilities of lands? There is. It's I can't remember the name of it. It's a Mirren Safe House. What is that? What's the combo with it though? I guess sorry, I should attack with this Moonshadow. I missed the attack with it last turn, but I'm totally fine if they double block and I trade it for Flesh Raker, and then it would also grow the Goyf and grow this Moonshadow now. Thinking the aim guy could do something with it. Well, it doesn't seem like so it has all activated abilities, right? So you're copying like a fetch land? Doesn't make, I don't know. Yeah, maybe Magosi. Yeah, I've cast Magosi. I've played too many Magosi's in my time. Doesn't Thoughtseize spawn freely block it? Damn, it did. Although they missed it too. Alright, so we're going to consign this. They are going to get another spawn. We're going to go down to 9. Somehow we both missed the block. My flow states are online. They've got no cards in their hand for the Thoughtseize. My Goyf is a 4/5. Very close game. Okay, really want to find a blue source for the stub. Ideally a fetch land to grow the Moonshadow. Success. Yeah, I think I'll keep the Death Shadow over the other options there. More I could maybe die on the backswing. I could possibly play Death Shadow this turn and just try to dodge a top deck too. Could see that end up being good. Let's attack with just the Moonshadow again. I think I'm going to play this a bit more cautiously. The artifact with all land abilities is called Mana Escape Refractor, not Modern Legal. Oh, sorry, I should have corrected the fetch. Mirrored Safe Houses. It has all activated abilities of lands in your graveyard, I believe. Abilities of lands in your graveyard, I believe. It said believe. I'm going to get a basic island here against the Fleshraker. Blocking meant they would need a land to cast Karn. Ah, good call. They might not have missed it. So I'm at 7. I think it's better to be at 7 than at 5 in this spot. That's an interesting draw. I could cast that and play Shadow, or I could play Flowstate. I think it's a good turn to play the Edict. We'll see which one they want to keep. Am I okay trading Moonshadow for a spawn token? So they're going to sack the Mind Stone. They're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like it changes that much. You need to dodge a couple top decks. First Instinct is copy, Walkers, Thought Monitor, even just a Bauble seems good. Yeah, maybe. It's just, for me, it's a card that, you know, I played a lot of Peter Parker's Camera, and I do think that card is both underplayed, and also it didn't perform as well as I thought it would have. No Blast Zone, no Blast Zone, no Blast Zone, no Blast Zone. Oh, Eldrazi Temple. Whew. They don't have any utility lands to get, or maybe they're casting like a Devourer here. That could be the Devourer. Could be the Seer. Although I'm sad to lose my Flowstate. What are my predictions for the Pro Tour metagame? It's a little early. I'm honestly like, it would be a tough Pro Tour to test for. I think I'll make some when we get a little bit closer. Yeah, I tested Frog and didn't like it, and I've liked the build without it a lot more. It's just like awkward on the curve and slow, and plays not very well with Stub. Oh, it was I supposed to Thoughtseize myself here? I think I did miss lethal without Thoughtseizing myself to grow the Moonshadows. All right. So hopefully that doesn't punish me too much. It doesn't. I guess there were mana off of like Card Bridge. Yeah, I have been watching the finals. It's been really fun. Although I think I'm hanging out with some friends tonight, so I don't know if I'm gonna watch Game 4. I'll watch the other 3. Okay, so we 4-1 this league. I think we should probably run it back. I think I like the sideboard too. We lost 1 match to Red Green Eldrazi. I think it felt pretty good overall.